I have a membership at our local car wash, so for less than the price of 2 car washes every month, I can get as many car washes as I want. Some months it turns out to be a pretty good deal, some months it doesn't turn out so great, but overall I think it's on the better side. It's nice to be able to just pull into the car wash and deal with it whenever I feel the need. So that's what I'm doing today. The onus this week was mostly that my backup camera was really dirty, so it's nice to be able to see through that again. The other issue that caused today's visit was that last night was starlighting and I had a crock pot of hot chocolate in the back of my car. Due to a local road closure, I had to take the hilly route, and I ended up spilling quite a bit, so I needed to get that cleaned up as well. I'm sure I've pointed this out on the vlog before, but it's kind of a funny thing about living in Colorado. When we have a big snow like we did 2 weeks ago, there's benefits to living on the north side of the street. On the north side of the street, we have lots of uncovered grass. Everything's melted away for us, but the neighbors on the south side of the street are still dealing with plenty of snow. You know that rule that you should never go to the store when you're hungry? It's really a silly rule, because that's when you buy all the best stuff. So, tried this a couple weeks ago using phyllo bread. Today I am using puff pastry. We're going to see if we can affect the football game a little bit with a couple of turnovers. So, fold them over into a nice little triangle, then we'll flute the edges. Lay them out onto a cookie sheet, and puff pastry says to cook for 15 to 20. Give that a whirl. Yeah, these look a lot better than those phyllo bread. And there's your turnover. Monday night, Melissa, Katrina, and I headed to Old Town Englewood. We caught a bite to eat at Moe's Barbecue, but the purpose of our trip was not good food. The purpose of our night was to see an improv musical at the Gothic with Offbook. In case you don't know what an improv musical is, it's just that. Improv comedy mixed with singing and a plot. Zach Reno and Jess McKenna gave us a great original show. When they post it, I'll link it in a card, but that shouldn't be until early February.
I need everyone in this kitchen to be at your best.
Yes, chef.
And also, I have just one goal for us all.
1 flake sparkles and 1 blend.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I am you and you are me. Whoa, 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 whoa. We are one just conscious entity. Whoa, 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 whoa.
My geranium not only is doing extremely well, this week it actually started to bloom. Both kids are trying to be home for Thanksgiving this week, and Melissa went to the grocery store this morning and came across some chocolate advent calendars, which we have very consistently done since they were little. We've done the Lints a few times, but that's what she was able to find this year.
Well, ever since book club, I decided I was going to continue on with this series about the Witchlands, and the first book was Truthwitch, and I've already talked about that one. So the second book in this series is Windwitch, and I enjoyed it. I liked the world building. This time they added in an extra character, Merrick's sister Vivia, and I wasn't that wild about her. She ends up having an interesting story to go along with Merrick and Isolde and Safi, and so it was a fun extension of the story. Did it have some of the same issues as Truthwitch, yes. But I'm into it. I would say if you were into Truthwitch, you just keep on going and enjoy the ride.
On Wednesday, we headed back to the theater to watch Wicked, so that was a lot of fun to catch with at least one kid at home, and I'll agree with most everyone that I've talked to, the Wicked Part 1 is really good. Thursday was Thanksgiving, and so we headed to beautiful downtown Deer Trail for a family gathering. It seemed quite a bit smaller of a group this year, with only about 25 of us, which is better in my opinion. And Alex actually got the day off unexpectedly, so it was great to have him home for Thanksgiving. One highlight of the day for me was seeing this little electronic game that one of my third cousins created with the Snap Circuit board. At the library for the past several years, they've hosted what is called the Forest of Stories. Across the 7 library locations in the county, there are 175 of these trees. Every branch is different, so if you aren't in Castle Rock, here are some of ours, and you can go to any of the other branches and catch some more. Saturday, Alex was back up to work, so Friday night we headed to Tasty House for some dinner.
It's a lot different picking out from somebody's garage than it is from going tromping through the snow. But the tree isn't too much different, so that makes up for it for me.
We got our hot chocolate when we got home, and we got the tree set up into its stand.
I read Sightwitch by Susan Dennard, and it was part of this series that I started through book club. But Sightwitch is kind of a side story. It's a backstory for one of the characters we don't learn that much about. But it ended up being really helpful and helped me make sense of the next book really well. It is a story about Ryber, and she is one of the Sightwitch sisters. She's living at a convent in this kind of secret society of women. She ends up discovering a journal that is by someone from like 1,000 years before she lived, and those are kind of the two perspectives. And you know, even on its own, it was an interesting story. I'm not sure that the ending would have been quite as satisfying if I didn't know I was going on, but I liked her story and how she was kind of, everybody else got chosen and she wasn't the chosen one for so long. And how hard it was to kind of make her decisions from there. I definitely think it was worthwhile, and I'm kind of sad that it's not officially part of the series. I'm not sure, I mean, where I read it after the second book made the most sense to me. I don't know that it would make much sense as just a straight up prequel, but if you decide you're going to pursue the series, I would say Sightwitch is worth reading.
And so ends November.